everyone who knows the time has run out. Tarkenton turns to go off the field. And listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. Time has run out.
And so it was in 1974. After 42 years of famine, the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the NFL's oldest and most respected teams, had realized their first championship. It was sweet, to be sure. But as in our everyday life, championships are short-lived. They last only 1 year. Today's heroes can very quickly become yesterday's stars, nostalgic memories of a day gone by. To win a championship in the world of sports is a funny thing. Distraught fans and critics refer to chance, others to luck. And those that totter on the brink of sports lunacy use the word fluke. But to win a sports championship twice, well, that's another thing. No longer are there critics. How can there be? You've proven yourself to be the strongest, the sternest, the best against all challengers. No longer are words of question used. In their place are statements of the imperative. Outstanding, great, dynasty. In 1975, the Pittsburgh Steelers faced the challenge of defending champions. Some have succeeded, many have failed. But for the Steelers, this would be their true moment of glory. The real championship, as they proved that they deserve to be called the best in professional football. For the Steelers, 1975 started in the same manner as 1974, with a shutout, as they blanked the San Diego Chargers 37-0. The Pittsburgh defense was awesome on this afternoon, as it held the Charger offense at bay all day long, never letting them penetrate any closer than the Steeler 40. But the following week, the Steelers received an early season shocker when the Buffalo Bills, behind O.J. Simpson, who rushed for 227 yards, reduced the Steelers to the ranks of 500 at 1-1 by leveling Pittsburgh by a score of 30-21. However, for the Steelers, this would be their last loss for many weeks to come, not realizing the pangs of defeat again until the final week of the season. Steelers' surge back to the Super Bowl started on Sunday, October 5th, when they journeyed to Cleveland to take on their arch rivals, the Browns, and they destroyed them by a 42-6 score. For quarterback Terry Bradshaw, the game started on a spectacular note. He completed his first 7 passes, and the Steelers forged into a quick 21-0 lead.
Slot right formation. Bradshaw, rolling right, firing, open man, there it is. Touchdown to Johnny Stallworth. The Steelers are on the board. Stallworth running almost laterally to the goal line, coming into the end zone toward the near side, slanting out to the sideline. Wide open. Tony Peters was beat on the play. He was embarrassed. And the Steelers have gone in for the TD at the 1-yard line. Here's Bradshaw giving the Franco, cuts over the left side of the line. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. Barely made it, but he did. 2 tight ends. Mullins to the left, Brown to the right. Grossman is a close flanker, and the handoff carried by Mike Collier into the end zone. Off the right side, the rookie from Morgan State goes in. For Collier, that is his second touchdown of his rookie season.
But Bradshaw suffered a bad cut on his throwing hand in the second quarter. And onto the scene strode Joe Gillum, and it didn't take him long to get into the act.
Setbacks are wide. Gillum has not completed a pass in 2 tries. He is deep now. Now firing the ball out to the far side. Swan at the 20, over the 15, the 10, the 5. Swan is galloping for the end zone. A touchdown. What a brilliant move by Swan.
Pittsburgh scored twice more in the fourth quarter as the Browns could only notch 1 TD, and the Steelers were well on their way. The next week, the Steelers lassoed the Denver Broncos by a 20-9 score as the combination of Terry Bradshaw to Lynn Swan proved to be too much. After Denver had taken an early 3-0 lead, Bradshaw found Swan from 43 yards out, and the Steelers were ahead to stay. Here's Bradshaw deep. Look out. Long ball, far side. There goes Swan. Double coverage. He takes it for a touchdown. Holy mackerel. Thompson brought the ball down at the 2-yard line and fell into the end zone for the TD. In the second quarter, Swan outfought Denver quarterback Louis Wright at the goal line, and the Steelers were up by a 14-3 count. Terry Bradshaw stops short, throws high into the end zone on the near side. Cut by Lynn Swan. Now let's see, the penalty marker goes down. Swan has made another sensational catch. He was covered by Louis Wright, the rookie cornerback. The interference was against Denver. It did not matter. Swan made a catch that you couldn't believe. From that point on, school was out as both teams swapped field goals in the second half, and the Steelers hung on for the 20-9 decision. The following week, the lowly Chicago Bears invaded Three Rivers Stadium and gave the Steelers a battle, at least for the first half. The Bears struck first as Bob Thomas kicked a 32-yard field goal. But the Steelers came back when Roy Girella got the equalizer from 37 yards out. Reggie Harrison made it 10-3 Pittsburgh in the second quarter as he scored from 1 yard away. But the vaunted Steeler rushing game seemed to be in trouble as it was held to a mere 37 yards in the first half. Steelers regrouped themselves at halftime and came out and put it to the Bears in the final 30 minutes of play. First, Roy Girella booted home an 18-yard field goal, and Franco Harris, Rocky Blyer, and Terry Bradshaw did the rest as the Steelers turned what seemed to be a close game into a rout, winning by the score of 34-3.
Here is Randy Grossman in as the second tight end. Now, Grossman is lined up as the flanker to the right, and Mullins is actually the tight end to the left. And Bradshaw gives the inside handoff to Harris on a crossbuck right to left. He goes into the end zone for the touchdown. Handoff is to Rocky. Rocky driving through people. He's down into the end zone. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. Rocky Blyer going straight through the middle, taking defenders with him right into the end zone. Carried Wayman Bryant in. Touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bradshaw sneaks. Bradshaw scores for the Steelers. Terry Bradshaw wades through the middle on the keeper. Takes it in for the touchdown.
The next week was Rocky Blyer Day as the former Vietnam veteran put on quite a show before his home state folks at Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He rushed for 163 yards, and the Steelers defeated the Green Bay Packers 16-13. But despite Blyer's heroics, this game did not come easy. The Steelers were actually trailing 6-3 when Mike Collier put them in front by returning his second quarter kickoff 94 yards for a touchdown.
Lamello left to right, kicks it very high, coming down rather short at the 6-yard line. Collier with the ball over the 15, angling right over the 20, the 25, the 30. Here he comes up over the 40, the 45, the 50, breaks into the open. The Green Bay 30, he's running, and Hopper shooting to the 10, the 5. He's in for a Pittsburgh touchdown. Holy mackerel! Mike Collier took the kickoff. Collier got the opening. Collier angled to the sideline. Collier broke into the open near midfield, and Collier races the distance. He goes 94 yards for a touchdown.
But the Pack fought back and knotted the score in the third quarter when John Brockington rambled in from 5 yards away. In the fourth quarter, both teams fought the war of the trenches, and it appeared that this game might be headed for the NFL Cardiac Ward, sudden death. But being the champions they are, the Steelers rallied their forces for that final fatal drive that sealed the Packers' gloom. With just 64 seconds showing on the clock, Roy Girella trotted onto the field for the three-pointer that would give the Steelers the victory.
It is fourth down, and Roy Girella's on. Girella has hit twice this afternoon from 18 yards and 19, missed from 50. This is from the 19-yard line, a 29-yard field goal. Walden is the holder. The snap to Walden. Girella kicks. It is up there. It is long enough. It is good.
Despite their fine 5-1 record, the Steelers were in second place in the AFC Central, behind the unbeaten Cincinnati Bengals. But on Sunday, November 2nd, a high noon shootout took place at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The game was tied at 3-3 when Lynn Swann beat Lamar Parrish.
Bradshaw backpedals. He looks. There comes his man, and he fires. Hits him down at the 15. Lynn Swann will go for a touchdown. Swann came down and across. Took the ball at the 15. Bradshaw took a pretty good lick in there as he fired the ball from Bill Kohler. But he hit Lynn Swann, and he hit him in no uncertain terms. Great pass, great catch, great run. Swann was untouched going into the end zone, and the Steelers take the lead.
Then in the third quarter, Rocky Blyer, and yes, Lynn Swann again, jettisoned the Steelers to what seemed to be an insurmountable 23-3 lead.
Bradshaw giving to Blyer, slanting over the right side. Blyer goes into the end zone standing up. Blyer found the hole over the right side on a slant. Sam Davis had taken Al Beauchamp out of the play, and Blyer galloped into the end zone for the touchdown. Now Bradshaw goes to the end zone. Swann is wide open. Swann left the defensive man behind. Wowie. He left Lamar Parrish down on the turf, and Parrish takes off his helmet, slams it into the grass in disgust.
But disaster seemed to strike as the Bengals, behind quarterback Ken Anderson, narrowed the score to 23-17. However, on their next drive, Mike Wagner stepped in front of an Anderson aerial and returned it 65 yards.
Anderson is back deep this time to throw. There he's firing. And it's picked off by Mike Wagner inside the 20, out over the 25, the 30, the 35, the 40, the 45, the 50 has blockers in Cincy territory. Down over the 30, the 25. Wagner cut from behind and brought down inside the Cincinnati 20. Wagner picks it off, and Wagner could well have saved the day.
Then in just 3 plays, the Steelers moved in for the winning score.
Now a tight formation, 2 tight ends. Grossman flanking close on the right side. Quarterback sneak, and Bradshaw's in there to score for the Steelers.
The Bengals did manage to ring up one more touchdown, but it was too little, too late, as the Steelers hung on for a 30-24 win. So now there was a 3-way tie for the top spot in the AFC Central Division between the Steelers, Cincinnati, and the upstart Houston Oilers. For the Oilers, 1975 was a rags-to-riches kind of season as they emerged from the bottom of the NFL to the executive suite. And who should be the Steelers' next opponent but those same Oilers? They were a gung-ho bunch, and the victory over the world champion Steelers would be just the right touch in their season of miracles. And darn if they almost didn't pull it off. The game started as though the Steelers were going to run away and hide as they struck for 10 quick points in the first quarter.
Walden the holder. Ball down, Girella kicks it. 22-yard field goal is good. Lynn Swan in the slot to the left. Bradshaw back looking for Swan. There it goes. He takes it. Oh, was that a beauty? In behind the defensive man as Swan went down and over toward the corner. Bradshaw just threw a beautiful pass. Swan was right there. It went over the head of Bob Atkins into the arms of Lynn Swan.
And even after Houston had narrowed it to a 3-point ball game, the Steelers refused to let up. They came back with a touchdown of their own.
Bradshaw back. Bradshaw runs forward, and they can't get him yet. Now he throws, and he completes it for a touchdown. Bradshaw came forward and ran along the 10-yard line, stayed behind the line of scrimmage, flipped it into the left corner of the end zone to Larry Brown, the tight end, wide open for the touchdown.
And when the Oilers did threaten to score, the Steeler defense did them in.
Pastorini straight back now, throwing downfield. Intercepted, picked off at the 33-yard line. Jack Ham is nailed at the 34.
But the second half turned out to be a different game altogether, as first Skip Butler blasted home a 48-yard field goal, and then with just 2:18 showing on the clock, Fred Willis darted over from 1 yard out. But for the 3rd week in a row, the Steelers put together a 4th-quarter drive to victory. This time, the hero turned out to be unheralded John Stallworth, who scored with just 38 seconds remaining in the contest.
Bradshaw drops back to throw. Bradshaw looking for the end zone, and there he is, wide open on the far side. Johnny Stallworth takes it for the touchdown. Stallworth put a move on Zeke Moore, took him right out of his shoes. A move to the outside on the far side of the field in the end zone. Stallworth, second-year man from Alabama A&M, made the move, and Bradshaw hit him with a strike.
The next week, the Steelers got away from the beat-the-clock type victories by destroying the Kansas City Chiefs 28-3 as Franco Harris rushed for 119 yards. Terry Bradshaw completed 16 of 24 passes for 204 yards. Now came a rematch with the Houston Oilers in the Dome in Houston, and the Oilers were hungry for revenge. However, the Steelers were near perfect in their execution this night as Franco Harris rambled for 149 yards and Terry Bradshaw completed 13 of 16 passes. Pittsburgh was trailing by the baseball-like score of 3-2 late in the second quarter when Bradshaw took his troops 66 yards for a touchdown.
Bradshaw calls signals, gives it to Franco, straight through the middle. Franco's in the end zone. They don't even knock him down. Franco Harris runs over people going through the middle. Carries it in for the touchdown from 4 yards out. And the Steelers have gone on the board with their first TD of the night.
Then just seconds later, J.T. Thomas picked off a Dan Pastorini pass.
Here's Pastorini back deep. They're after him. He breaks a tackle by LC, throws downfield, intercepted at the Pittsburgh 38. Here comes Edwards for the ball over the 45 and out to the 47-yard line. J.T. Thomas, I beg your pardon. J.T. standing right in the way.
In just 4 plays, the Steelers went in for their second touchdown.
Bradshaw is back, looking left, now looking right, now throwing for the end zone. There goes Swan right across the goal line for the touchdown. Swan down to the goal line, squaring in and getting away from the secondary protection down there, the Houston Oilers. And Lynn Swan just simply ran away from Willie Germany and took the pass.
After Roy Girella added a 30-yard field goal in the third quarter, Pittsburgh put the game out of sight with 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns.
Bradshaw gives the ball to Frenchie, finds the hole over the left side. He's galloping into the end zone for a touchdown. Frenchie Fuqua found the hole. made a slight move to the left and galloped into the end zone for the touchdown. Just an absolutely perfectly executed play from 13 and a half yards out. Bradshaw sets them 1st and 10. To give to Franco. Franco breaking down to the 5. Franco's going into the end zone for the touchdown. Made his move to the left, cut back through the hole. Got by the linebackers and then galloped. He left Greg Bingham sitting on the turf.
And on defense, the Steelers were unstoppable as they picked off 2 passes and sacked Houston quarterback Dan Pastorini 4 times. The win over Houston, coupled with Cincinnati's being upset the previous day, moved the Steelers into sole possession of first place in the AFC Central Division. But they still had a horse race on their hands, and they knew it. The following week, the Steelers made it 9 straight as they downed the Joe Namath-led New York Jets by a 20-7 score. Next came the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers made them their 10th victim in a row, winning by a 31-17 score. It was, however, a little more difficult than it sounds. The Browns were leading at the half 17-10, when in the third quarter, the Steelers put the game away as the aerial show of Terry Bradshaw to Lynn Swann struck twice.
Bradshaw, rolling left, looking, throwing into the end zone. Swann takes it for the touchdown. Beats Van Green on the play. Bradshaw rolling left, flipped it to Swann deep in the end zone. Moving toward the far side, behind Van Green, and Swann has the TD. All right, Bradshaw's ready to go. 3rd and 10. Drops straight back. Sets up and fires downfield. Takes it to the end zone. Then Swann for the touchdown. Swann running right down the seam of the Cleveland defense. Into the end zone, a yard deep, heading for the post. Took the pass for the touchdown.
And on the ground, Franco Harris rushed for 103 yards. The 17th 100-yard game of his career, as he also totaled over 1,000 yards on the season, to become only the 7th player in NFL history to have 3 or more 1,000-yard years. And in the fourth quarter, it was Franco who cemented the Steelers' 11th win of the 1975 season with this 8-yard run.
And here's the handoff, and the ball is given to Franco Harris. He goes in.
Despite their fine 11-1 record, the Cincinnati Bengals were still breathing heavily down the neck of the Steelers. On Saturday, December 13th, the 2 teams met at Three Rivers Stadium to resolve the issue of the AFC Central once and for all. As was the case in their first meeting, Pittsburgh struck early, racing to a 14-0 first quarter lead, as the offense notched 1 score and the defense got the other.
And Bradshaw is back to throw, looking. Can't find anybody. Now he throws complete into the end zone. Lynn Swann takes it for the touchdown. Bruce Kozla, the second tight end. Stan Fritz is in to replace Johnson as a running back. They are tight and powerful. 3rd and 1. And the give is to move. He was nailed. He's fumbled the football. It is loose. Melblunt scoops it up. He doesn't hold it. Now it is picked up. Down the floor. Lambert goes for the laterals. The ball off. The ball is being carried for a touchdown by J.T. Thomas.
Unlike their first game, the Steelers refused to let up. On the day, Franco rushed for 118 yards and scored 2 touchdowns, his first game in the second quarter, and gave Pittsburgh a 21-7 advantage. He also set a Steeler record for career touchdowns, bringing his total to 27, breaking John Henry Johnson's old record of 26.
Bradshaw calling the signal. Strong right this time. The handoff to Harris, running to the weak side, trying to swing outside. Makes his turn at the 10. He's to the 5. He's heading for the end zone. And did he make it? He is... What is the ruling? In there for a touchdown.
In the third quarter, Terry Bradshaw scored from 7 yards out, and Pittsburgh was up by a 28-7 count.
Bradshaw looking right, now running back, coming with the ball down to the 5. He's to the goal line. He's into the end zone for a touchdown.
Then, just for good measure, Franco Harris scored his second of the day in the fourth quarter, and Pittsburgh was on its way to a 35-14 victory and a clinch of first place in the AFC Central.
Randy Grossman lined up as the tight flanker to the right, and the handoff inside, carried in there by Franco. What a beautiful handoff by Bradshaw on a pivot to Franco, coming through on the delay, taking that handoff and going in for the TD.
So now, with their division secured and the home field advantage in the playoffs already attained, the Steelers journeyed to Los Angeles for their final game of the season against the Rams. For Pittsburgh, this game was used as a tune-up for some of the lesser-known players who had not seen that much action. And as a result, the Steelers were defeated 10-3. Now it was time for the NFL's second season, the playoffs. And it was time for the Steelers to get down to the nitty-gritty of actually defending their world championship label. For the the Cinderella Baltimore Colts, midnight was a little early in its coming. But come it did as Franco Harris and the Pittsburgh defense turned the Colts' carriage into a pumpkin, downing the NFL's miracle team of 1975 by a score of 28-10. For Harris, it was a day to remember as he rushed for a playoff record 153 yards. And when he was not on the field, the Pittsburgh defense was doing its thing by picking off 2 passes and rushing the quarterback ferociously as only the Steelers' steel curtain can do. After opening the game in a rather conservative fashion, the Steelers threw caution to the wind, moving 61 yards in just 4 plays to score the first touchdown of the afternoon.
Bradshaw wants to throw. He's deep. Takes time, looks down the middle, look out. Lewis pulls it in. A one-hand catch at the 40, down to the 35, the 30. It goes out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Here's Bradshaw handing off to Harris. Harris trying to get blocking protection, cuts over the left side. He goes into the end zone to score. Harris, under his own power inside the 5, had the initial block by Jerry Mullins, and he was running almost parallel to the turf. Kept his balance, and went the additional 3 yards into the end zone. Fell in for the touchdown. Franco on a great run with the hole opened up by Jerry Mullins. He was off balance. He was running parallel to the turf, and he kept his footing and took it into the end zone for a Steeler TD.
But the Colts managed to close out the first half at 7-7 when Lloyd Mumford picked off a Terry Bradshaw pass and set up the tying touchdown. Baltimore upped its lead to 10-7 in the third quarter when Tony Linhart kicked a 21-yard field goal. Could it happen? Was this Colt team blessed with some kind of supernatural power? Would it derail the defense was quick in coming? And the answer was no. After losing regular quarterback Burt Jones in the early going, the Colts went to Marty Domrey's. Things seemed to be going his way until he threw a ball into the hands of the NFL's premier interceptor, Mel Blount, in the third quarter. Blount returned it 20 yards to the Colts 7.
Here is Domrey's back to throw, gets it away, and it is intercepted, picked off at the 25. Here comes Mel Blount down to the 15. Blount in a crowd at the 10. Blount goes down at the Baltimore 7-yard line.
In just one play, the Steelers regained the lead for good.
Handoff. Carried by Rocky Bleier off the right side. Second effort down into the goal line. He's in there for a touchdown. Rocky Bleier going off the right side. Gave it a great second and third effort. Carried it into the end zone for a Steeler touchdown. 7 yards out.
In the fourth quarter and with only 9:39 showing on the clock, Steelers demonstrated their awesome power. They had the ball at the Colt 39 when Terry Bradshaw hit Larry Brown with a 9-yard pass. Then Bradshaw went to the Steelers' bread and butter man, Franco Harris, and he carried them to the shadow of the goal line. That set up Bradshaw, who took the ball in himself.
Bradshaw lines them up. Here's the sneak. Bradshaw goes over the right side, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown. You had the feeling as he came out of the huddle he was going to do it himself. And sure enough, he did.
Oddly, both quarterbacks, Jones and Bradshaw, were injured in the first half, but both were around at the end. However, the man who really gave Steeler fans something to talk about was veteran linebacker Andy Russell, a relic from the Dark Ages, who set another playoff record in the fourth quarter when he recovered a fumble and went 93 yards for the final touchdown of the day.
A fake by Jones. Ball knocked out of his hands, picked up by the Steelers. The 30, the 40, down to the Colt 40, the 30, the 20. He's going to go for a Steeler touchdown. Holy smokes!
So now it was on to the AFC Championship game against the Oakland Raiders. Opposing players often refer to linebacker Jack Lambert as the meanest man in football. And on Sunday, January 4th, you understood why as he recovered a playoff record 3 fumbles and keyed a magnificent defense that must have had the Oakland Raiders yearning for the warmth of the Pacific Coast. It was a cold day, 15-degree temperatures and an 18-mile-an-hour wind. And it brought back thoughts of that memorable Dallas-Green Bay confrontation of a decade ago. The first half produced little scoring, but good action.
Make it 3rd and 7. Fuller backers in tight. They have a 5-man front. They rush 4. Bradshaw's looking. Bradshaw's in trouble. Running to the right. Bradshaw rolling and looking and throwing downfield. There's the receiver, Frank Lewis at the Oakland 48. Takes it over the 45, out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Lewis drifted into the open, and Bradshaw, by rolling right, had time for the Oakland secondary to collapse just a little bit. Lewis shot into the open, took the pass. Jack Tatum made the stop, and the Steelers have a first down at the Oakland 43-yard line. Slot right formation to the near side. Frank Lewis is in the slot. Bradshaw, the quarterback. Setbacks normal. Bradshaw stops shortly, pumps, then throws. Intercepted at the 26. Here they come over the 30, and after the 35, a fumble, a dive for the football. And who has it? At the near sideline, Oakland recovers. Steelers have Lynn Swann to the right, to the near side. Lewis wide to the left. Bradshaw back in the end zone to throw. Firing. Going for Lewis. Intercepted. Picked off at the 29-yard line on the far side. Overthrown over there and picked off by Jack Tatum. They line up with a flanker to the right. The split end to the left. And Stabler's back to throw. Stabler's looking. Throwing. Got a flag down. Passes intercepted downfield at the 30-yard line. And is carried back upfield. Catch was made by Mike Wagner, and Wagner is in some sort of jostling contest over in the Oakland bench area. There was a penalty flag down. It was against Oakland. Steelers have the interception. Bobby Walden, the holder, at the 26-yard line. The snap of the football. It's down. Jarrella kicks it long enough, high enough. It's good. Jarrella kicks a 36-yard field goal. And the Steelers take a 3-0 lead over the Oakland Raiders.
That 3-0 score held up through the third quarter before the offensive explosion in the final 15 minutes of action. Pittsburgh got things started when Jack Lambert, and where have you heard that name before, recovered an Oakland fumble at the Steeler 30.
Stabler back again. Looking now for the swing man out of the backfield to the left. And he fumbles the football after he catches it, runs with it. We recover. Jack Lambert's running. Lambert's up over the 20, the 25. Pete Banaszak caught the pass. He was wide open. Took it, ran a few steps, hit, fumbled the football. Jack Lambert recovered it, ran with it, brought it back upfield to the 27, knocked down by Art Shell.
Eventually, Franco Harris rambled in from 25 yards out as he just slid through the hands of rookie defensive back Neil Colsey.
At the 25, with the snowflakes falling again, Bradshaw to Harris, can't find the hole inside, goes outside to the left, breaks a tackle, he's to the 20 down the sideline, he's going to go for a Pittsburgh touchdown. Franco Harris broke a tackle at the line of scrimmage, slipped outside, ran away from another Oakland defender, went to the sideline. He gallops 25 yards into the end zone for a Pittsburgh touchdown, the first TD of the afternoon.
Then Oakland came to life, and the Raiders moved 60 yards in 6 plays, with Ken Stabler hitting Mike Ciani 14 yards away for the score that made it a 10-7 ball game.
Dave Dalby goes over the football. Flanker to the right, to the far side. Stabler drops back again. Cool. Now throwing to the end zone, and there's a leaping catch at the goal line for an Oakland touchdown.
This brought Lambert back onto the scene. Once again, he recovered an Oakland fumble, this time at the Raider 21.
Slot right formation, wide to the right side for Oakland. Handoff is to Hubbard. He's caught by LC, fumbles the football. Steelers diving for it. They have it. Hubbard fumbles the football forward. And it is recovered by Jack Lambert.
Taking advantage of this opportunity, the Steelers once again victimized rookie defensive back Neil Colsey as Terry Bradshaw lofted a 20-yard scoring pass to John Stallworth. It gave the Steelers a 16-7 lead.
Bradshaw is back to pass. They coming after him. Gets away, and now he throws for the end zone. Look out. It is caught. The defensive back goes down on the turf. What about that? The catch by Johnny Stallworth. The defensive back covering on the play. Neil Colsey slipped and fell. Stallworth was open to make the catch on the far side of the end zone. Stallworth triumphantly running off the field, holding his arms up in the air. Johnny Stallworth in his second year from Alabama A&M.
But the Raiders still wouldn't quit. With just 1:31 left to go in the ball game, Ted Hendricks recovered a Pittsburgh fumble. This set up a George Blanda field goal. A field goal that some believe may have been his last in the NFL. The Raiders then recovered an onside kick, and Steeler fans started inching toward the edge of their seats. But the Steelers were ready. All day long, Oakland's swift wide receiver Cliff Branch had been shut out by the veteran Mel Blount. However, in the last 15 seconds of the contest, he hauled in a Ken Stabler pass of 37 yards, and the novices had their hair turning gray. But Blount let him have the catch, preferring to keep him in bounds and let the clock run out. And the Steelers grabbed their second consecutive AFC championship. So now it was on to Super Bowl 10 in Miami, Florida. The dream of dreams had once again been accomplished. What had started in the sultry days of summer as a hope and had developed into a prayer and eventually a goal was now the Steelers for the taking for the second year in a row. They had proven themselves in the regular season. They had done what they had to do in the playoffs, but it really all came down to one game. And once again, the Steelers found themselves matched against a Cinderella team, a long shot, the people's choice, an underdog whose game plan seemed to be a bag of tricks. They were the Dallas Cowboys. Super Bowl 10 took place on Sunday, January 18th in the Orange Bowl amidst the Super Bowl games. It was only 1 year earlier that the Steelers took part in their first Super Bowl as the darlings of the football world. But that was the 1974 season. They were now, as Franco Harris said, the guys in the black hats. It has been beaten to death that previous Super Bowl games did not live up to their advanced publicity. But after this game had been played, nobody would level that charge against Super Bowl X. If there is one word to describe the action of this day, it would be super, as both teams performed to the utmost of their ability. There was great offensive action, superb defensive example of how the game of football should be played. This was championship football at its best. You got a good indication of the format when Dallas linebacker Tom Henderson returned the opening kickoff off a reverse some 52 yards upfield.
Pearson and Dennison deep, and Jarella kicks it. End over end. Who's it coming down to? Preston at the 3. Out over the 10. Reverses the football. At the 10, the 15, to the near side, the 20, the 25, the 30, the 35, the 40, the 45, the 50. Over the 50 to the Steeler 45. And the tackle is made. And the runner is knocked out of bounds. Tom Henderson took the reverse, coming from the far side of the field to the near side, and the tackle made in front of the Steeler bench by Roy Jarella, who is hurt on the play.
As a matter of fact, that opening play seemed to stir the adrenaline of the Cowboys as they dominated the first quarter with spirited action, seizing opportunity by the throat and taking advantage of it. The first break in the ballgame occurred in the opening period when, after failing to move on its initial series, Pittsburgh's punter Bobby Walden fumbled his snap and Dallas took over.
Walden averaging 39.4 per kick on the season. Golden Richards downfield to receive for the Cowboys. The punt will carry left to right across your radio dial. Walden standing at his own 27-yard line. He fumbles the football. Walden is hit and nailed at the 29-yard line.
Then it took the Cowboys just one play to score.
All right, the Cowboys are in a slot left formation. Now they move into the standard setback situation with Staubach, the quarterback, taking the ball, faking. He's back to throw. Staubach straight down the middle. Open man at the 15. He's over the 10. He's down to the 5. Touchdown, Dallas Cowboys. As Staubach hit Drew Pearson, the wide receiver, wide open in the middle of the Steeler defense, took the ball at the 15-yard line, beat Andy Russell, and went into the end zone, and Dallas is on the board with the first touchdown.
On their next possession, the Steelers moved 68 yards downfield to tie up the ballgame. The key play of the drive was a leaping catch by Lynn Swan.
And back goes Bradshaw to fire to the near side, and it may be intercepted. Leaping for it was Lynn Swan, and they rule a good catch at the Dallas 16-yard line as Swan beat the defensive back Mark Washington on a great play.
After moving on to the 7-yard line, Terry Bradshaw, on a third and short yardage situation, crossed up the Dallas defense by going to the air.
And Bradshaw rolls right, puts it wide open in the end zone. Randy Grossman takes it for the touchdown. They crossed them up. They had two tight ends, and they had Mullins going in motion, cutting into the line, and Dallas was geared for the run. They did not get the run. Bradshaw took the ball, put quickly to Randy Grossman, the second-year man from Temple, wide open in the end zone for a Pittsburgh touchdown.
But the Cowboys were playing it tough, and they came back to take a 10-7 lead in the second quarter when place kicker Tony Frisch hit on a 36-yard field goal.
This will be a 36-yard attempt. In this range, in the playoffs, he has had no previous tries. Here's Frisch kicking with the wind behind him. It is long enough. It is good.
However, the trend of the game was starting to change as the Pittsburgh defense came on strong, shutting off all the gaps for the Dallas running game and harassing quarterback Roger Staubach as he tried to perform out of the shotgun formation. The game remained a 10-7 stalemate through the third period. Then came the final 15 minutes of play. And what a quarter this turned out to be. It had everything. Scintillating action, heroism of the highest degree, and strategy that would put a smile on the face of the foremost field general. Things started to go Pittsburgh's way when L.C. Greenwood and company broke through to sack Roger Staubach at the Cowboy 15 and set up a punting situation.
All right, they're rushing, and it's blocked. It's through the end zone and out of play. Blocked by the Steelers. It's a safety.
That was the turning point in the ballgame as the Steelers' Mike Collier returned the Dallas free kick 25 yards to the Cowboy 45. The Steelers moved out of the Dallas 20 and onto the field trotted Roy Jarella. Jarella had missed two, but when the Steelers needed it the most, he came through.
All right, Jarella trying for the third time this afternoon, a 36-yarder with Bobby Walden holding. As the wind behind him this time, nonetheless, it is still tricky. Ball is down, and Jarella kicks it in his end over end, and it is up there. It is good. There's the signal. It is good, a 36-yarder by Roy Jarella with 8:41 remaining on the clock. And And the Steelers have moved out to a 12-10 lead over the Cowboys.
The Cowboys then bobbled the kickoff and were forced to set up shop at their own 15-yard line. On their first play, Staubach went back to pass and threw the ball into the hands of Mike Wagner.
Staubach, cool as a cucumber, lines them up. Shifting them now. Bringing a man in motion from wide right to left. Staubach, double fake, drops back and throws down to the middle. Intercepted, picked off by Wagner. He's coming over the 15 to 10. He's down to the 6-yard line.
The Steelers advanced the ball close to the goal line and called on Roy Girella once again.
All right, the adrenaline is flowing. Walden holding at the 14. Girella kicks it. It is up there. It is good. A 24-yard field goal by Roy Girella.
Then when the Cowboys got their hands on the ball, the Steeler defense swarmed all over them and forced another punt. With the ball resting at the Pittsburgh 36-yard line, the Steelers put the game away. As Bradshaw was pounded into the turf, he unloaded a deep bomb, and Lynn Swann made his second sensational catch of the game and earned Super Bowl MVP honors.
Bradshaw's back. He wants to throw. Now he fires for the bomb, and Lynn Swann going for it. Swann pulls it in for a touchdown. Lynn Swann beat his man on a bomb. Swann got a step beyond Mark Washington, who's been on him all afternoon. 64-yard pass, and Bradshaw was hurt on the play.
But the Cowboys weren't dead yet. They came back to score when Staubach hit tight end Percy Howard in the end zone to make it a 21-17 game. However, the Steelers recovered the Cowboys' onside kick. And with Terry Hanratty in for the injured Terry Bradshaw, they kept the ball on the ground, moving down to the Cowboy 41. On fourth down, the Steelers elected to run the football to prevent a blocked punt. And being out of timeouts, the Cowboys had a long way to go with just 1:22 showing on the clock. But they gave it a valiant effort. It all ended when, on the final play of the game, Glenn Edwards picked off a deflected pass, and the Steelers were Super Bowl champions for the second year in a row. So now the Steelers were among the elite in NFL history, joining the likes of the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins as the only teams to win back-to-back Super Bowls. They had fought the fight and won. They had withstood the pressure that goes with being world champions and proved that they were the best. Chuck Noll and the rest of the coaches, management, and players of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you are the best. Your dedicated hours of labor and effort have earned you the right to be called the world champions of football.